Tell me honestly, are you living your life, or are you just moving through it, unaware of who placed the pieces on the board?
Many spend their years in a fog, participating in a game whose rules they never bothered to learn. They follow scripts written by others, fight for values imposed on them, without ever questioning what they are truly willing to defend. Life resembles a chess match, but not the kind played under the soft clink of glasses, with refined moves and well-crafted strategies. Our game unfolds in the shadows, on a board where the pieces are barely visible, and the moves are dictated more by fear than by wisdom. The harshest truth is this: most people don't even know who they are in this match. A pawn sacrificed for someone else's cause, a queen whose worth lies only in constant action, or merely a spectator standing on the sidelines. History is full of such lost figures. Look at Vincent van Gogh, a genius who spent most of his life feeling unwanted, dragged by the blurry expectations of those around him. His brilliance was only recognized after his death, when it was too late to recover the years spent in self-torment. All because at some point, like many others, he forgot the fundamental rule of life. Your first mission is not to conquer the world. It's to protect yourself. Most people live as if the goal were constant forward motion, new projects, new achievements, new victories. But if you move without knowing what you are guarding, every step becomes meaningless noise. As Seneca once wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." The problem isn't a lack of talent or opportunity. The problem is a lack of inner direction. Those who wake up every day thinking, "I must prove my worth," are already prisoners on someone else's field. You don't have to be the fastest, the loudest, or the most brilliant. Your strength lies in understanding your own center. The true king on a chessboard doesn't rush. He moves rarely, but every move is deliberate because he knows he holds the board together. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." And it is in that why that the conscious game truly begins. But we get distracted. We pour energy into maintaining appearances, successful, clever, invincible. We build fragile kingdoms out of others' expectations, while neglecting to construct the only fortress that truly matters, the one within. Each day you live by external approval rather than inner purpose. You unknowingly set yourself into an invisible check, moving your king closer to an inevitable fall. The paradox is that the king does not win by attacking. He wins by enduring. Mastery is the ability to wait, to resist the urge to leap without a clear cause. And while you chase validation, applause, and fleeting triumphs, you quietly surrender your greatest treasure, your inner stability. Today, I challenge you to ask yourself, what exactly are you protecting? Don't say your job, your status, or your image. That's dust. The real treasures are your mind, your spirit, your honesty with yourself. And if you lose those, no amount of rewards will fill the void. Have you ever wondered why some people crumble at the first setback, while others endure even when everything around them falls apart? The difference isn't strength, resources, or even talent. It lies in one thing, in what they are protecting inside. The world sold you a lie, that success is about being first, being loudest, occupying as much space as possible. But true masters of life know, it's not about how much you conquer, it's about what you manage to preserve through the storm. Look at Marcus Aurelius, a great Roman emperor, ruling through crises, revolts, and plagues. His reign wasn't a golden parade, yet Marcus endured because he built his foundation not on external victories, but within himself. His meditations are not a manifesto of power, but a guide to internal resilience. He understood, the real enemy isn't outside. The fiercest battles happen within, between fear and reason, pride and wisdom, the urge to prove and the will to preserve. This is where true mastery begins, not in the hunger to defeat others, but in the resolve to not lose yourself. You might win 1,000 external battles, but if you lose to yourself inside, the price will be unbearable. Today, it feels like if you're not constantly proving your worth, you don't exist. If you're not racing ahead, you'll be forgotten. If you're not the loudest, you'll be ignored. It's the disease of our age, the disease of empty noise. But remember Socrates. He wasn't the wealthiest, nor did he gather crowds with grand speeches. He simply was. He was so deeply rooted in truth that no authority could buy him, no fear could break him, and no temptation could seduce him. Even in the face of death, he refused to betray his principles to save his life. This is how someone behaves who knows what they are protecting. Now ask yourself, how many of your decisions in recent years were made to protect your peace, and how many were driven by the fear of seeming insignificant? When was the last time you moved, not because you had to, but because it aligned with your deepest values? Most fatal mistakes aren't born from weakness, but from confusion. People mistake movement for progress. They believe that if they keep moving, they must be on the right path. They forget. The pawn also moves often, but it's sacrificed first. Only the king knows when to stop. He understands that a reckless move could cost the entire match. This is not a call to passivity, it's a call to consciousness. Today's world provokes you to react faster, louder, more impulsively. Quick replies, quick arguments, quick shifts, quick surrender. But real strength lies in the ability to hold still when everyone else is shouting. In the ability to stay grounded when everything around you pushes for flight. As Blaise Pascal wrote, all of humanity's misfortunes stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Could you endure the silence of your own mind? Could you live without endless distractions, without constantly needing external achievements to validate your existence? Or would you collapse at the first real confrontation with yourself? Remember, the king isn't defeated by an opponent's attack. The king is defeated by his own carelessness. When your attention is scattered, when your entire being is consumed by external tasks, you leave your inner fortress unguarded. And then a single blow, a failure, a betrayal, a loss, can destroy everything you thought was untouchable. That's why those who know how to protect their inner calm seem almost invincible. They are not flawless. They are not perfect. They have simply built walls where others didn't even realize a war was raging. And today, I ask you a question that will define your entire game moving forward. What inside you is worth protecting at any cost? If you don't have an answer, don't move another step. Pause. Find it first, because every step you take without that clarity brings you closer to losing what truly matters. Are you sure you're steering your life, or are you just reacting to everything that happens to you? Most people live in reflex mode, anger at pressure, joy from praise, fear of loss. Their lives resemble not a calculated strategy, but a chaotic match, where each piece moves not because it must, but because it just happens. Reaction is the weakness of those who don't understand their position on the board. Decision is the strength of those who know their purpose. History shows us, those who acted from conscious choice, not blind reflex, changed the course of humanity. Look at Abraham Lincoln. When the entire political scene of the United States drowned in panic, some demanding immediate peace at the cost of surrender, others shouting for vengeance, Lincoln chose neither. He chose consciousness over popularity. He understood, to act out of fear is to lose forever. He knew that true victory wasn't winning a battle. It was protecting what was worth fighting for. Only those who can keep a clear mind amidst the fiercest storms ever create real change. Now ask yourself, are you moving through life intentionally or just reacting to the blows? When you're criticized, do you abandon your plans? When you're praised, do you lose control of your goals? When fear comes, do you betray your own principles? Reacting is easy. Everyone reacts. But acting from clarity, that's rare. The true player knows not every noise on the board deserves a move. Sometimes the strongest move is to stay still, to refuse to dance to every provocation, to resist moving your pieces out of fear. Remember Winston Churchill during World War II. When London was drowning under bombings, when fear filled the streets, he didn't cry out for desperate peace. He stood and said, "We shall never surrender." It wasn't just military strategy that saved the nation, it was that internal certainty. Churchill understood. Panic destroys faster than any enemy, and it's the same for us. Panic within leads to reckless decisions. Lack of clarity forces us to trade our most precious values for the illusion of quick safety. When you react instead of consciously choosing, you become a puppet of the external world. And then you are no longer playing chess. You have become just another piece on someone else's board. But there is another path, the path of inner awareness. Awareness isn't about rejecting emotions. It's about seeing them, acknowledging them, but not letting them rule your decisions. The true master isn't someone who feels nothing. It's someone who is not enslaved by what they feel. And here's what you need to realize. Every decision you make either strengthens or weakens your inner king. Every yes spoken out of fear, every no uttered from uncertainty, every move made without inner alignment is a subtle strike against your core. In the end, it's not the external attacks that defeat you. It's the thousands of small betrayals you commit against yourself. That's why your mission isn't to win more battles. Your mission is to stop losing to yourself, and it begins with one simple act. Don't react instantly. Pause. Ask yourself, is this decision born from clarity or from fear? Because if fear dictates your moves, then you are not playing the game. The game is playing you. When was the last time you truly asked yourself, what is sacred to me? Not in theory, not under the pressure of others' expectations, but deep within, where the noise of the world can't reach. Most people drift between goals like shoppers at a clearance sale. Today they crave success, tomorrow recognition, the next day the illusion of stability. But amid all that chaos, they lose the one thing that matters most: clarity about what is truly worth living for. Those who truly changed history knew their answer to that question. Look at Nelson Mandela. 27 years behind bars didn't break him. Why? Because he knew what he was protecting. His fight wasn't for external symbols of freedom, it was for the freedom inside him, the kind no chains or torture could take away. He could have broken 1,000 times if he valued external power more than internal strength. But he chose clarity. He chose to stay loyal to himself even when the world around him crumbled. Now think, what in you is so essential that you wouldn't sell it? Not for money, not for fame, not even for love? The world skillfully hides the real battles behind pretty wrappings: career, likes, status. It trains you to protect illusions, not essence. And if you don't know what you are defending, you'll end up selling your soul for the applause of the crowd. Every time you betray your values for convenience, every time you trade your vision for approval, you're not just making a small wrong move on the board. You're shaking the very foundation your life stands on. Remember Steve Jobs. His journey wasn't lined with applause. His ideas were often seen as insane, and his personality labeled as difficult. But because he refused to compromise his inner clarity, he built something that changed the world. He didn't sell out his beliefs for comfort. He built his game by his own rules. You can be liked by everyone. You can be accepted everywhere. You can achieve success by society's standards. But if you betray your center for it, you've already lost, because life isn't a race for recognition. It's a battle to preserve your true self in a world that desperately wants to turn you into a copy. Thousands of times, you'll be offered the trade: inner peace for quick success, freedom for safety, clarity for the illusion of power. And each time, you'll have to choose. Not between good and evil, but between truth and comfort. True maturity begins the first time you refuse an easy victory to protect something that has no price. The first time you say no, not to the world, but to your own weakness. to your craving for validation at any cost. That's where real strength is born, not in being invincible, but in being faithful to yourself, even when it hurts, even when it's uncomfortable. Remember, everything truly valuable demands protection, and if you don't define it for yourself, the world will define it for you. And then you'll end up protecting empty illusions while what really matters crumbles at your feet. What would be left of you if everything you used to impress others was stripped away? Not your status, not your achievements, not your image. The real you, with your fears, your dreams, your pain, and your truth. Everything we've talked about leads to one brutal reality. If you don't build an inner foundation, any storm will tear you apart. How many times have you postponed your values for later? How many times have you sold your peace for quick praise? How many times have you lost yourself trying to become what others wanted? Each time you moved blindly across the board, sacrificing your most precious pieces without even realizing it. And one day, you might wake up and see, the board looks beautiful, the crowd applauds, but the king inside you has long since fallen. And when that happens, the game is already over. But as long as you breathe, as long as you feel, you have a chance to change everything. Because true victory isn't moving faster than others. It's preserving your soul intact while passing through a world of chaos. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. His path was not one of war, but of resilience. His power didn't come from the number of followers, but from unwavering clarity. He knew exactly what he was defending. And it was that clarity that made him unbreakable in a world where most surrender at the first blow. The same goes for you. You won't become powerful by conquering the whole world if you lose yourself in the process. True strength doesn't come from external control, but from internal integrity. One person who stands firmly on their principles, even alone, is more terrifying to the system than an army of followers. So today, the real question isn't how to succeed, it's something much deeper. How can you stay loyal to yourself in a world that will pay you handsomely to betray it? Choose your core. Define what's worth protecting even at the cost of defeat. Build your inner fortress, brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. Then, even if the entire external world collapses, your soul will stand unshaken. The era of false goals is over. The time has come to play not for applause, but for truth. And now, I ask you to take an important step. If even one thought in this story struck a chord inside you, if you felt this was about you, go to the comments and write, "I choose to protect my king." Let it be your first conscious move, here and now. And if you're ready to go further, to build your inner kingdom, to move not for show but from depth, subscribe to my channel. Because here, we are not here to entertain you. We are here to wake you up. And believe me, this journey has only just begun.